Dear friends, today I come to you with some terrible events. Now let's move on to incident number 1. Grandfather Jhuli, the old witch. A rainy night. It's raining outside, and the clouds are calling loud. When did the village electric lamp go out? A hurricane is smoldering on the living room floor. In that light and darkness, 3 grandsons are sitting on grandfather's lap: Pintu, Rantu, and Chotu. Dadu fixed his glasses on his nose and heaved a big sigh. In the hurricane light, the shadow of grandfather's face looked like a huge ghost on the back wall. Little Dadu pulled the fatwa and said, "Dadu, it's scary outside. Don't tell me a great horror story, just like your childhood." Dadu smiled a little. Then he took his white beard by the hair and said, "Well, today I will tell you the very first incident from my Jhuli. The story is about an old witch, but listen, this is not a fairy tale witch, but a terrible old witch of flesh and blood who lived in the village next to us." Pintu and Rantu were shaken. Dadu started saying, "About 50 years ago today, then we had a small forested village called Andakar Chati next to this Rupur village. At the very end of the village, there was a dilapidated hut under a huge moss-covered old tamarind tree. An old woman lived alone in that house. No one knew her name. Everyone called her Black Old Lady. The old woman's back was curved like a bow. Her hair was white as hemp pebbles and luscious. But the most frightening thing was his eyes, set in the coat, completely yellow. The village people said, "The old woman is not an ordinary person, she is a witch. He sits alone under the tamarind tree late at night and sings with a broken voice and what seems to be blowing in the wind." Moral Raghubabu of Gaon did not believe this. He was a very strict and arrogant person. Once, one afternoon in Jaishta month, Raghubabu's only little son was playing by the pond. Just then, that old witch was passing by. Seeing the boy, the old woman smiled at his blistered face and said, "Oh my, what a beautiful moon-like forehead. Don't be overlooked, boy." Business, it's too late to say that. From that night, Moral's son developed fever. Kabir's Mashai came, gave medicine, but there is no name to reduce the fever. The boy was just shaking with fever. The village people broke Moral's ears. "Mr. Moral, this is not a common disease. That old witch has cast an evil eye on your son. If a witch's eye catches a person's eye, people will not survive." Raghubabu was blinded by anger. He took 4 or 5 young boys of the village with a stick in his hand and ran towards the old witch's hut. It was 12 noon. The old woman was sitting on the floor of the house and was beating something in a clay pot. Raghubabu went and broke that clay pot with one kick. Then he grabbed the old woman's hair and dragged him down to the yard and said, "Say, witch, what harm have you done to my son? If my son does not recover by tonight, I will hang you on this tamarind tree and burn you to death." The old woman fell to the ground and cried out in pain. Tears began to fall from his yellow eyes. She snapped, "Shit, I'm not a witch. I just blessed the boy with love. Don't kill me." But no one listened to him. Raghubabu pushed him and left. While leaving, the old woman fell on the ground. The weather of the entire village changed from that evening onwards. There is not a cloud in the sky, but a sweltering heat and a strange hushed silence. At exactly 12 o'clock in the night, the whole village woke up to a strange sound. Knock, 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 knock. Who is laughing in an inhuman voice? At the sound of that laughter, all the dogs in the village cried together. As Raghu Babu came from the house to the balcony with a lantern in his hand, he saw a thin black wind blowing from the direction of the tamarind tree in his backyard. And from the middle of the air came a broken hoarse voice. "Raghu, you ruined my pursuit. You killed me for being innocent. I will extinguish the light of your clan tonight." Raghu Babu saw that the window of his son's room was thrown open, and outside the window floats in the dark air a hideous face whose hair moves like a snake and whose eyes shoot out flames. It is none other than the old witch, but his appearance is now like a terrible ghoul. At this point in the story, Dadu suddenly became silent. Outside then there was a big thunderbolt, loud. Chotu, a little scared, and closed his eyes completely. Pintu asked in a whisper, "Then what happened, Grandpa? Did Moral's son survive?" Dadu raised Hurricane Salt a little and said, "You'll have to wait until tomorrow night to find out. It's a long night. Now go to sleep." Pintu and Rantu were saddened to hear Dadu's words, but Chotu breathed a sigh of relief. But what sleep? Lying on the bed, the three brothers did not have a drop of sleep. The sound of the wind outside the window seems to mean that the old witch has come. The next morning, the three brothers scolded Dadu. "Grandpa, I can't wait until night. Tell me now what happened to Moral's son." Dadu laughed at the interest of his grandsons. Sitting comfortably on the porch easy chair, he took a drag of tobacco and resumed. Raghu Babu's lantern fell to the ground and broke when he saw the terrible form of the old witch outside the window. He had never believed in ghosts in his life, but when he saw this ghost in front of his eyes, his chest dried up and turned to wood. The old witch floated into the room. Her long black nails were moving towards the boy's neck. Seeing no other option, Raghu Babu fell on the witch's feet. "Forgive me, old mother. I have wronged you without understanding. Leave my son. He is not guilty." Raghu Babu broke down and cried. The old witch chuckled. "Pardon? The fire of humiliation you have lit in my chest can only be quenched with blood. But yes, I can return your son's life on one condition." Raghu Babu wiped his eyes and said, "What is the condition? I will do whatever you say." "On the next new moon night, you have to bring a pot of boiled water from the tantric of the cremation ground in the village and place it in front of my cottage. Remember, if you play any tricks, not only your son, but the entire village of Rooppur will turn into a crematorium." Having said this, the old witch disappeared through the window with a puff of black smoke, and as soon as he left, the burning fever of Koka's body flew away like camphor in an instant. The boy looked wide-eyed. Raghu Babu breathed a sigh of relief, but a deep fear settled in his heart. To approach the tantric of the crematorium is to step into Yama's door. That tantric eats water on the human skull, and to lick it is to bring about one's own death. But Raghu Babu had to take this risk for his son. The night of the new moon was approaching, darkness all around. Raghu Babu alone took an earthen pot in his hand and left trembling towards the cremation ground. A pyre was burning in the crematorium, and a man sitting next to it was doing tantric sadhana. Raghu Babu prostrated at the tantric's feet from a distance and explained everything. Mr. Tantric looked at Raghu Babu with his red eyes. Then he said in a serious voice, "Raghu, you have made a big mistake. That black old woman is no ordinary witch. She is a supernatural, unsatisfied spirit who was living in that cottage in human form. You have hurt her illusion. With the boiled water she asked for, she will double her strength. Then she will not spare any of you." Raghu Babu sat down with his hands on his head. "So what should I do now, father? He will kill my child." The tantric closed his eyes for a while. Then he took out a small black-colored gem and a pot of holy water from his bag. He said, "You will give him this water, but hide this black gem under the pot. Whenever he goes to drink or use this water, this gem will absorb all the demonic energy within him. But remember, while doing this work, your mind should not shake a bit. If he gets scared of you, he will chew you to death." Raghu Babu shivered and headed towards the old witch's hut with the pot and the gem. It was almost 1 in the night. As he reached the front of the hut, he saw the old woman sitting on the porch of the house waiting for him. His eyes glowed like snakes in the darkness. Raghu Babu placed the pot in front of the old woman and said, "Here is your boiled water." The old woman looked at the pot, then looked into Raghu Babu's eyes. Raghu Babu's forehead started to sweat. Has the old woman caught this tantric move? Dadu stopped again. Chotu did not close his eyes anymore. He was boiling with excitement. Pintu said, "Grandfather, did the old woman drink the water?" Dadu smiled enigmatically and said, "He took the water, but what happened next, you'll have to wait until the last episode." Taking the earthen pot in her hand, the old witch looked into Raghu Babu's eyes. Raghu Babu's chest was trembling. The old woman took the pot to her nose and sniffed, then smiled a terrible smile on her swollen face and said, "Ha ha ha, boiled water given by tantric, just what I wanted." Saying this, the old woman swallowed all the water in the pot in one gulp. The old woman's eyes sparkled with joy as the water went into her stomach. She shouted, "Raghu, now you and your village have no salvation. I am now invincible with the power of this water." But the joy of the old woman did not last long. The smile on the old woman's face disappeared within a few seconds of drinking the water. He suddenly clutched his throat and sat down on the ground. The walls of his hut began to tremble. In fact, the magic black gem of the tantric hidden under the pot started working. The water that the old woman had thought of as a means of increasing her power, at the touch of the gem, now began to absorb all the demonic and witchy energy within her body like a sponge. The old woman stretched out her hand towards Raghu Babu while writhing in pain. Black smoke started coming out of his body, and his horrible ghoul form slowly faded away. She cried, "Raghu, you have played a trick on me. All my strength is going away. No!" The old woman's body was completely bent. After all the supernatural power within her was trapped inside the gem, the old woman could not last another moment. With a sudden gust of wind, the old witch's entire being was blown into the air into dust, and the gem under the earthen pot radiated intense light and exploded by itself. Raghu Babu stood mesmerized and saw how the entire hut became empty in an instant. The leaves of the tamarind tree stopped falling, and a sweet cold breeze blew out of the surrounding atmosphere. He quickly returned home and saw the boy sitting up on the bed and smiling. The village of Rootpur was freed from the curse of the old witch forever. Raghu Babu also gave up his pride and became a good man. After finishing the story, grandfather put his tobacco pipe aside. Dimming the hurricane's light, he said, "What's wrong with Pintu, Rontu, Chotu? How did the old witch end up?" Chotu now breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Great-grandfather, but is that tamarind tree still there?" Dadu smiled mysteriously and said, "The tree is still there, brother, but now there is no old witch." Come on, it's late now. Everyone close your eyes and go to sleep. The three brothers wrapped the blanket around grandfather's lap. Outside, the sound of the rain subsided, and they fell asleep in deep peace with the events of Rupur village in their hearts. How did the event feel? Please comment and let us know. Everyone will be fine and healthy.